So hi, I'm Thierry. I'm coming from Belgium, even if I'm actually living in Amsterdam. I've been a little bit lucky. I mean, I was in New York in 2001 when the planes came into the towers. Because of that, I didn't have any job for a while because I mean there was not a lot of work in New York. So I take a leave of absence, which is like I took some time off. And a friend of mine just started a company in California. And then he called me 2 days later and he said, hey, you know, you have nothing to do, so why you don't come here and help me to build something? So I went there, and the good thing is that we invented the ringback tones, you know, like the tones that you have when you call somebody. And then we try to sell it and sell it. We try to sell it in the US, we fail. We try to sell it in Europe, we fail. We try to sell it in South America, we fail. And then we went to India, and it became an enormous hit. And that's how we did our first, let's say, big success. And we did an IPO in 2008, which is bringing the company to the stock exchange. And of course, you know, like making some money, let's put it that way. Okay, so that's a little bit my story. And then from there on, I'm using my money to, or the money that we made to help people, startups all over the world, to actually going from an idea to a company. I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk first about a few innovation trends that you need to know. Today, at your fingerprint, you have immense number of information that you have to use, but it's also your responsibility to do it. It's your responsibility to look for it. It's your responsibility to take the time for it. 1 month ago, I was at Campus Party in Ecuador. And it was very nice because it was a lot of people. It was like more than 30,000 people for 5 days, you know, sleeping there and so forth. The thing is, Telefónica was offering a kind of a big connectivity. And because of this big connectivity, you had like 20,000 young people just playing. Okay, I have nothing against playing. I think it's very nice to play. But when Telefónica is giving you a 1 gigabyte, you know, connectivity for 5 days, you have an immense opportunity to also look for information and look for something which is happening in the world instead of only playing. So playing at night was good, but I think it's also, that's why I'm saying it's your responsibility to actually go and look for the information that you have. So a few trends. Okay, first thing, that's a good news for you. There is a lot of more incubation and acceleration. What is incubation? Incubation or incubator, it's companies who are helping you with a number of services to build your company. So they help you to check your ID, check, you know, everything, you know, your application, helping you with the coding, helping you with everything, and then even funding. So they give you some money to go there for 6 months, and in return, you give them 7%, 8%, 9% of your company, and then they help you to go to the next phase, which is funding and so forth. So it's not only about passion, but you need the passion, but when you have the passion, you can also go to any incubation or incubators, and they help you to make it successful. So that's very important. That's good to know. You can just push on Google, you know, a list of incubator in Mexico, and you have at least 10. Okay, so from corporate or from university or difference. Ecosystem, it's a little bit, it's a group of different, you know, services and companies who can help you also to realize that. So you have Intel, or you have Microsoft, or you have different corporate who help you with different free services to help you to build your company. So that's the first trend, you have to use it. The second one is what we call collaborative spaces. It's like spaces, and I think you have a few also in Mexico in different university spaces where you go and you just work not alone, but on your own product with different other people who are working on their own product. So every night you can have fun, you can have some seminars, you can have some workshop, training, and so forth. So you learn a lot just by being at the same place as other people, right? So you exchange and you can learn from each other. I think this is also very important. A third one, which I discussed a little bit with a few of you yesterday, we have more and more kind of innovation centers. Innovation centers in the world is what? It's like, it's a house. And when you enter into the house, you enter into the future, right? I think you know that you are responsible for a future, okay? I think you know that the world of tomorrow will be completely different of the world of today. I'm quite, like, let's say, progressist or provocative. I'll give you a few examples. Tomorrow, your son, your daughter, she will not live until 60, until 70, until 80 or 90. She will live forever. If people start living forever, all the rest will be completely changing, because the way you buy your house will be also different. The way you think about education will be completely different. The way you think about finance will be different, and so forth and so forth. So that's only one example, but okay, I can take an example in medical, I can take an example in education, and so forth. We just saw just before that you have also all the courses from all university at your fingerprint today, right? So Innovation Center is nice if you go and you go abroad, you go on holiday in Europe, just look at innovation centers and do a visit. It's fantastic. If you have kids, they love it. And also for you, it gives you an idea about what could be the future. And then you can learn from it and then integrate it into what you do. And the last but not least, this is really also your responsibility. How many people know about singularity? Not a lot. And you're supposed to be the young people who know about singularity. Singularity is using innovation to solve all the major issues and major problems in the world. So they're using innovation, being a process, being a new idea, to solve, for example, food processing, or even food production in the world, or water consumption, or energy production. So also, same thing, go on Google, singularity.com, and you have tons of articles, tons of interviews of people who explain you why you should consider singularity and what it is. And the last trend of today is people who know me, they know I hate the name social. I believe that you need to be sustainable, you need to make money. And when you make money and you are sustainable, then you can use your money to do good things. Because, I mean, the most difficult things about, being young and creating your own company, being an entrepreneur, is actually making money. It's not being social. I mean, you need to make profit, and believe me, making profits is a challenge. And then based on that, you can use your money to actually do good things, right? Well, of course, you know all the example about Bill Gates Foundation and all the different foundations that we have in the US today. I mean, Bill Gates Foundation doesn't come from the money of Bill Gates. It's come from the money of Bill Gates, who he made with Microsoft, who he steal from Apple, right? From Steve Jobs. But we just learned before that stealing is Picasso said that we have to steal ID, so I mean, that should be no problem. Okay, so new ecosystem, innovation center and singularity. Please do your homework. Okay? Do your homework. I mean, it's your own responsibility. It's not the teacher. It's not your parents. It's not. Instead of playing games for 5 hours in a row, playing 3 hours and just spend 2 hours navigating the internet of knowledge. Okay, so the good news is not only about what's happening today in the world, it's about you. And what we see is that more and more people are actually doing it. So if you look at the economy today in the world, more and more people are actually taking the step to create their own company, to try to do something, and to try to build, let's say a profitable company, but something who can change the life of the other people. So it's becoming a huge economy, and it will be the biggest economy, right? So we will discuss briefly about the sharing economy, Uber and Airbnb just in a moment. But more and more people are doing that. I'll give you an example. If you are you are graduated from your university, or even if you are 35, or even if you are 45, right? But if you are graduated from your university, and you have Unilever, McKinsey, and all the big companies coming here on the campus and say, hey, you need to work for me. You say, okay, I'm going to work for you. How much do I earn? And they will tell you, okay, you have to work a lot, you have to try this, this, and this, and this, and because we're going to train you, you're going to learn a lot. So we're going to pay you $1,000 and for 6 months or for 1 year, and you need to shut up and work a lot. Okay, that's one solution, right? When I was young, it was the best one, because I mean, this was the way to actually build your CV and then, have a work and then be somebody in life. Today, with the incubators, with the accelerators and so forth, maybe it's worth to consider starting something, getting money from this new economy, and getting maybe not $1,200, but maybe $800 a month, but building your own things for 1 year. Doing things. By doing things, of course, you're learning. So, okay. This is, of course, very important. It's the new trends about the sharing economy. Sharing economy, everybody's talking about it. And not a lot of people really understand deeply what it is. So sharing economy is using or optimizing the infrastructure or the assets already built and used and paid. So anything which is already a sunk cost can be better used, right? So the idea about Uber, and there is a lot of discussion about Uber, and we can go into the details, but the mission of Uber is actually to have less cars on the road. It's actually not to compete against another taxi, system app or something, right? So if you look at every single very successful, let's say, big startup or big company today, they have a mission in life which is a little bit different than actually the service that they propose, right? So what's happening with the sharing economy today is that you have a lot of different infrastructure which is not used, and or not used at all time. And by using a proper app, a system, a platform, you can actually having a better optimization of the assets and the infrastructure. I'm just starting a new company with 2 friends of mine. And we thought about a very simple thing. We said, okay, you know what? Airbnb is so big and so forth about rooms. Why we don't do something about sport? We have all the sport infrastructure in the world, swimming pool, gyms and so forth, from, for example, here in university, from all the hotels in every single city in the world, from all the things that we built for one event, Olympic Games, European whatever, and so forth and so forth. So we built a lot of sport infrastructure, and we don't use it. So why not having an Uber app? When you open your app, you just see 5 locations when you can do sport. And these 5 locations will change based on where you are and when you want to do sport. So you see, there is the concept of what we call yield. There is a concept of using the asset when it's not used yet, right? So I'll give you an example. Still with my sport app, you will be able to use the sport infrastructure of the university at night, because nobody is using it. And during the day, you could use the infrastructure, the sport infrastructure of all the big 5-star hotels in the city, because during 9 o'clock and 4 o'clock, there is nobody there, because all the guys, they're going or on tour because they're tourists, or they go and work, right? So this is sharing economy. Okay, now, the issue, or some issue that we can have with the sharing economy, there are 2. First one, in order to make profit out of the sharing economy, you need to own the assets. So who are the guys who are making money today with Airbnb? People who have like 5 apartments in the middle of London, or 1 apartment in Paris, another one in Amsterdam, another one in London, and because of Airbnb, increase their yield and they're renting off their home in all these different countries, right? Or the cities. So there is a lot of critique. On one side, you're reducing the price of using these assets, which is very good because you allow yourself to go to London for a lower price than actually a big hotel. On the other side, it could be, you have to think about it by saying, okay, now the one who actually the most profit from the most of the sharing economy are the one who are actually owning the assets. In the meantime, how much is Uber valued today? Any idea? 52 what? It's about between, I mean, let's say between 10 and 50 billion, based on funding rounds or something, because it's a parallel. We talk about, we talk about the numbers, which is almost bigger than the Mexican economy. No, I'm not sure about that. No, but the thing is, I mean, we are reaching astronomical number just because they don't use the asset and they just take a margin or a commission between 15 and 20% on any usage on the platform. Same thing for Uber. Okay, the next one is that you don't have excuse anymore to start your business. You know, in my time, it was very difficult to convince angels or to convince venture capitalists to put money into my company, right? Today, you have lots of tools today on internet who allow you to get the money from other people, right? This is not wonderful? So everybody here can participate for, let's say, $10, so $10 to one of my company, and then with these 200 mile 10, I can start my business and start something which means something. So because there is a lot of, of discussion about, yeah, but I'm going to start something and then it's very difficult to pay myself. Of course, you're going to have to be clever and to keep your cost low. But today you have access to a new type of funding economy, which is a financing economy, which is huge, Of course, it's to you to actually have a good team, because this is, of course, the most important thing, to have designer, to be able to, to market your idea. We had the example yesterday, where the marketing plan and the PowerPoint and the video lead to actually making the next steps. Same thing for crowdfunding. So there are platforms to help you sell your product in advance, Kickstarter, or crowdfund your idea by selling shares of your company at a specific price at the beginning of the life of your company. And this one is also very important because I see a lot of startups every week in different parts of the world. They always say, you know what, these are my competition. In the startup world, you don't have competition. If you build an application in Mexico, right? I'll give you an example, a parking application, because in every single country where I'm going, there is always a parking application. Do you really think you compete against another parking application in Singapore? Or is it the opposite? If you know that there is an application in Singapore, you like the UX, you give a call to the CEO, and you say, hey, you know what? I like what you did. Can I use what you did? And I'll give you 2%, 5%, 3% of my company. The time, the money, and the risk that you will spare just by collaborating with another startup is worth 10 times more, actually, the development and the redevelopment of the things that you do. So I think that the startup economy has also to change to be more efficient by actually sharing, everything that everybody is doing in every single country in the world. So don't think about competition, think about collaboration. Okay, this one is an important one, an easy one. I mean, if you start something, the great thing about starting something, you're starting at a certain point, which is different from the one who has created the industry. So what's happening is that you can completely disrupt, or you can completely change the way people are using something just because you don't have to do all the steps before. So this is, of course, the efficiency and the productivity that you can have by actually building something which doesn't exist yet, or exists yet, but in a different way. Well, we discussed about that yesterday, stand out of the crowd. I mean, today, there is every single week, there is a contest in the world. And, of course, we have the best one with the World Summit Award, right? Exactly, we have the best one, but every single week you have local, regional, continental, worldwide contests from Microsoft to Intel, so corporate-wise, to all organizations in the world, and so forth and so forth. It's also your duty to go there, to present, to test your idea, and maybe to make money. Again, example from yesterday from Jason, where he makes money with activity contest to help you to go to the next steps. So this one I think is very important because, I mean, it's not only about doing exactly the same as somebody else, it's really, you know, winning. It's really, you know, trying to be the best, and how do you know that you are the best? Yeah, two ways, okay? And certainly at the beginning of your company, because a bit later it will be, of course, the user, the number of users, and how people are using your app. But at the beginning, it's like, okay, just try it. Go in front of jury. They will kill you. They will be, you know, like they will be, no, this is bullshit. Do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And of course, when you are different, and you do it, then you will notice something, a reaction. And then you have to leverage this reaction to make it even bigger. You know, a lot of people are criticizing the CEO of Uber because he's very aggressive, and I think he was pushed into a position that he's actually leveraging. He says, you know what, Mr. the Regulator, you know, I'm going to do it. I have a fine, about 50 million or 50,000 or 100,000 in each of the different countries they go in. But anyway, they are there forever. And his arrogancy will be, you know, like, no, we are better. We are really better. So, you know, we are there forever. We will not change. So be proud of what you do. Okay, and then one more element which I think is also very important is that it's not only about startup. Oh, that's a good news, right? Or not? Today, all the big corporations, if they don't innovate, they die. They have two ways to innovate. They can do a contest for all the employees, and you have lots of examples, from Unilever to Nestle to whatever, right? Or they can use what we call open innovation. Okay, what is open innovation? It's actually going outside your company, searching for a startup, an idea, or a team who can fulfill a need that you had. Okay? It's called reverse. So everything you see, for example, in terms of currency, like reverse pitching, it's like you put the corporate on the stage, and like I'm now, for example, head of innovation Philips, and I need few startups who are working with me on new battery. Okay? So I will do a call as a corporate to look for something from the crowd, from the young generation, to help me to innovate. So I think this is also very important because there is the money, right? If I'm today Philips and you help me to build a fantastic new battery, believe me, you will be rewarded for it. And more than only a salary of an employee. Okay, there is three ways to do innovation. Or you invent something, or you improve something. Everybody knows this tool or this instrument. These guys, they went from 0 to more than 50% of market share in different segments, I mean, with a price which is like a lot higher than any other similar product. Same thing for Nespresso, if you think about it. Or, and that's the most difficult part, is disruption. So everybody is always talking about disruption. But to be honest with you, there is less than 1% disruption. Less than 1% disruption in terms of success. The rest is all about improvement. So then you can say, okay, does Uber improve or disrupt? Why? Why Uber is disrupting? Changing the world model, it's completely right. Actually, if you think about it, they create a market. Okay? If you create a new market, you actually do something more than improving the system. In different states and cities in the US today, there is a lot of movement of people going against the regulator of the government saying, we want Uber Pop. We want Uber. Why? Because if you use Uberpop is the product of Uber when you use the car of somebody, of a normal somebody in any cities, right? So you take your car on a Saturday evening and you drive young people to a discotheque, for example. Oh, that's a good idea. Because the mothers and the fathers in the US, they realize, wow, we have less accident on Saturday evening. So it's not about the price. It's not about the transportation. It's the fact that now there is a service into the market which allows my son to go safely to the discotheque and come back for a fraction of the price that it was before. So disruption is about creating a market where people don't think about it. In my example about what we just, the application we are just building for the sport, what we realize is that we're going to make more money not with the people using the app, but with the cities. All the cities in the world, they want one thing. They want to say, you know, I'm the city in the world where the people are the most sportive in the world, you know, for different reasons. One, because it's good to be healthy. It costs less to be healthy. So suddenly, what you have is that you have different cities who says, hey, you know what, Mr. whatever new app, I'll give you a lot of money because you help me on, on having people more healthy. But wait, I'm not doing that. I'm doing an app, which is like making it easy for people to find the sport centrum. So you see, again, creation of a, and then of course, to be really disruption or to be really disruptive, you need to be successful. People forget that, right? Because, I mean, there is a lot of different apps who try to be completely different, create a new market. We don't call them disruptive until they are worth a few billion. Okay, and last but not least, at the end of the day, you can forget about everything I said before. So I'm worthless. At the end of the day, it's about people. You know? It's about the team. It's about the way you actually, the trust that you have into the team, the trust that you have with the people helping you. I prefer advisor than mentor. Okay, we can discuss about it. It's about, it's about, being able to say, you know what, yes, let's try it together. And we know it's not going to be easy. We know that there will be some moment where we lose money and we look into the face of somebody, of each other and we say, are we really doing this? And there is also, some bankruptcy. I mean, we don't have to forget it, that, out of 10 startups, how many are successful? Let's say 3. 1 going alone to the market, and 2 being sold to somebody else. The other 7, they don't exist anymore after a few years, right? So you know that people it's like a marriage, and it's like, you're going to be, it's even more, because you're going to spend more time with your partners that you actually spend the time with your love partners at home. So we discussed about yesterday about determination and passion. Of course, it's about, if you're not passionate about what you do, I mean, forget it. I mean, because it will require so much time, so much details, so much, everything, so much sacrifice, that if you are not determined, you will not be able to be successful. So don't start then. I'm always saying very often, if you start something and then I said, you know what, but you don't have it, just stop it, do something else, go and work in restaurants for 6 months and then come back with another idea, with another team, and then do it again, and do it again. It's coming. Passion, working hard, and even more hard. People think that because you are working in a startup, you work less than, but actually it's the opposite, right? Because, you don't sleep. The problem that you have with your own company, and this is for a small company, a big company, a restaurant, a discotheque, an app, is like you don't sleep because you always think about it. So it's like that. Okay, on the other side, when you have tasted what it is about entrepreneurship, to be honest, I will never wear a tie anymore, and I will never work for a boss anymore. Okay? So, Practice does not make you perfect, but you learn. So, a lot of things, and I think the next speaker will talk about it, but it's not about saying what you're going to do, it's about doing it. Because when you do it, you learn about what you do, what you don't do, or what you should have done differently. Everybody will talk to you about the way that that you have a product, and then you test it, and then it's not that. Then you change it, and you change it, and you change it again, and you change it again. There is no shame to change your product, to change your market, to change your pricing, to change your whatever. I mean, it's about launching, relaunching, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. Okay, so if there is one thing that you have to remind from my presentation, is let's say two things, sorry. Two things. One is you need to do your homework. Okay? It's your responsibility to know what innovation is. It's your responsibility to know what the future will look like. And it's your responsibility to be part of it. Okay? So it's not your father's responsibility. It's not your teacher responsibility. Or it's not your angel or funder responsibility. It's your responsibility. And if you want to do something good, great. There is some organization already doing a lot of things good. No problem. But try to be sustainable and profitable, and then use the profit to do good. So that's the first thing. Okay, and then the second thing that I want you to remember is it's about people, right? It's not about the idea. It's not about the product. Believe me, what you saw yesterday, I know why some startups are winning some contest. And believe me, they don't even have a product. They have a team. They have a passion, and they can communicate like they say, oh, wow, you're gonna be doing that. This is fantastic. That's gonna be a fantastic impact, even if you don't have a product yet. Okay? So, people first. Of course, product is important and so forth. I'm not saying that the Uber product is not good, right? I'm not saying that it's not nice to see the small car coming to pick you up. It's very nice. And to be able to share the price, and so forth, right? But it's about people. Okay, and then last but not least, I have a small video because I started different companies, and it's just to show you that success or innovation is not only coming from thinking in a boardroom or in a classroom, it's about doing it. So I'm involved into the biggest, let's say, festivals in the world. For the one who knows Tomorrowland and so forth, right? So at Tomorrowland and Tomorrow World in Brazil, Tomorrow World in the US, we started to do Tomorrow World for 1 day. Then we did it for 2 days. Then 3 days, then 4 days, right? So all the young people were coming, and we said, okay, now what are we going to do for hosting them at night? And we came with the idea, it's easy. We're going to have an open field, and they're going to come with their own tent. They will build their tent. It's going to be fantastic. Same thing today for Campus Party, by the way. Okay, so we did that. And then the next year we said, okay, no, that's nice, but you know what? People have some money to spend if we give them some more luxuries. So what we did, we built for them some tents, beautiful tents, lights and so forth, camps and so forth. So you give them the impression that they live, in a dream. Okay, yeah, but it's exactly that, right? Next year, the year number 3, we said, yes, but you know what? Still, we have issues. People can get into the tent, stealing their mobile and so forth. I mean, it's not safe for the women, for the girls and so forth. So we came with a new concept, which is a small cases, which is inflatable. Inflatable is that you are using compressed air on the walls to make a kind of a small habitation. And now I'm going to show you what we came up with this year. Can you show the video, please? The good one. Wait. Okay, this example is just to show you that you can build an enormous big company based on what you learn from the consumers every year. It's not about coming with a completely new idea and say, oh, this is gonna change the world. It's more about, okay, we know that people need this. We know that people are ready to pay for it. So why not building something different? And then you put a lot of people together and you build this. Yes. Perfect. So what you see here is that we thought about, okay, now the issue that we have is that we need to build a camp in one day. Right? But the thing is, Tomorrowland in Belgium, it's about 350,000 people, right? So if you have to build a camp for 300,000 people in one day, it's not going to be easy. So we said, okay, why not using containers? But there is a number of companies using containers today, so we said, okay, we need to be different. We need to make sure that our product stands out of the crowd. So what we did is we went to the world and we discussed with different people doing different part of what you see. So first of all, the axis, you know, the iron things that you see on the both sides, it's an IP, so you don't have all, which means that we can use it by minus 40 degrees or plus 50 degrees in the desert. Yeah, this is about 120 square meter. That's why it's called 10-fold, because we fold it 10 times. So we can make a house from 120 square meters, but it's not only that. If you look at the both sides, the both walls, everything is into the walls. So we put the beds, we put the shower, we put the electricity, we put the water, we put everything into it. So that when we come to a specific place, we just push a button and that's it. So no accident, no insurance, nothing. We have, of course, different descriptions. We can have like double bed, triple bed, and so forth. We have great designer, because, I mean, Tomorrowland is very well known for creativity and design. So we can create anything. So we design, you know, different way to look for it, and also we can use different materials. And then we said, okay, but you know, the discussion we had about the sharing economy and Airbnb, we said, you know, this product is actually more than what we think. This product, we can use it standalone to actually do things which are completely different from today. So, for example, this one, we know that in every single city in the world, people are building, you know, like stages, and there is accidents. So we said, why not using the same system to build things to do? Same example here. You know, the truck is coming, you're just pushing a button, and in 2 minutes, you have, yeah, you will see it. Yes. So actually today, we're selling 95% of our product not at Tomorrowland. So we sell that to oil and gas company. So crew, you know the Cirque du Soleil? The Cirque du Soleil, the housing is done by us. So anytime the Cirque du Soleil is actually moving to another place, they take their place with them, their house with them. We do solar panel, we do, so what I wanted to show you is that we build the product for a specific purpose, and then at the end of the day, we're using for completely different things. So we sold one of these 10-fold as a school for Samsung to go to all the different villages in Saudi. So the pupils, so the kids, they have a school 1 day a week, because we move the school to every single village instead of moving the kids to the things. We have transformed one of them in an hospital. We have another one which is like only a kind of a cages for very expensive materials. Because if you have very expensive materials and you go to a Formula 1 Grand Prix, I mean, you need something who's being secure, big enough to have all your screens. So we did that. And of course, everything is folded into it, and then you can, of course, fold it back in one day, the day after, and move away. Can you switch from video? Can you the last video? Okay, and then to finish, I think this is a nice story. Yes, this is. Yeah, you can leave it like this. Perfect. I talked a lot about the sharing economy and Airbnb. So what you have in the world is that all the hotels are complaining because they say, "Hey, Airbnb is coming." And because Airbnb is coming, I can sell less room because people will use the room of of the people who already exist. So we said, why not competing Airbnb? Wow. So it's like disruption of the disruption. So we built the same thing. So we built an hotel. The one you're going to see, it's about 320 rooms. We sold it to Hyatt. And Hyatt is actually coming to every single event in the world, being Formula 1 Grand Prix or being with an hotel. So that we can actually sell these rooms for $100. And you know what? Airbnb is suffering. Because we can do that. We can do Lego. So we can do a kind of a huge, let's say, smart hotel or smart village or smart whatever, which is actually competing against the disruption of Airbnb. Well, yeah, you can stop it. That's the same. Okay, and then finally, now we just sold this to Dubai 2020. Dubai 2020 is the exposition. So there will be an exposition in Dubai on 2020 with all the innovation in the world. And we sold the concept, but as a smart city. So it's not only all things will be smart, but also into the houses, everything will be smart. That's it. Thank you.